long time in the works. At least for me, a long time in the works. I live kind of in a world of almost instant gratification, it feels like sometimes. Let's talk about these two guys. These are my legendary RF Parts 3500Z tubes. I've had these tubes forever, and they have been in countless number of amplifiers. These are my bench test tubes. As you guys know, if you ship me something with 3500Zs in it, your SB220s, your Henrys, your Drakes, your Kenwoods, I tell you, keep your tubes. I don't need them. Well, these tubes are starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. They're still at 100% output, but they're getting a little bit long in the tooth. So the thought popped into my head, bing, one day, that maybe I should start thinking about doing something a little bit different. So I went out and I started looking around. Now, the previous set of test tubes were RF Parts tubes. The second set of tubes I went out and I got directly from RF Parts. They came in this singular little package, this box. That's exactly how I received them. Actually, there are boxes for these particular tubes on the shelf over there, and they are taped together. This is how they're packaged. So this little tiny wall of foam in this little tiny glass bottle, that's how they ship them across the United States. I was like, I don't know. But then we have to look back in history, and this is the packaging for an iMac. Much bigger. Its overall dimension sizes are over a third bigger than what RF Parts packages. So I thought, man, I wish I could get my hands on some old school iMacs, but you and I both know that's impossible. If you call up, let's say, Richardson's, who is a tube wholesaler, they've bought almost all the import rights for all the tubes here in the United States. When you receive your packages, your tubes, they show up in yet even a little bit smaller box. They come like this. Today we're going to talk about something completely different. I reached out to our friends, our newfound friends over at Penta Labs, and said, I'd love to work with you guys. What do you mean? Well, I'd really like to work with you guys, and I'd like to officially replace my RF Parts 3500Z tubes with a set of your all's tubes. And they said, oh wow, that's cool. And so we started talking about the YouTube channel, and we started talking about my customer base reach. And I said, I live in a realistic world. I do. And I've said this to them many times. No one owns me. Like, you know, all of our other friends that we thank in every single video, XS, Siglent, McMahon, Bird, Coaxial Dynamics. I don't get paid. You know, nothing's free. And everybody's got to work for what they've got. It's just the way it is. Nothing in this world is free. Nothing. I said, I want to come work with you guys, and I want to try you guys out. My idea behind this is, one, they're an American-based company. So is RF Parts. But the part that really appealed to me is that they have a warranty. And they have a larger tube diversity than RF Parts. That warranty comes with some stipulations. Every tube's got a number, and they test everything before it leaves their facility down there in California. So they know what's going on. So if you take the tube and you're abusive to the tube, let's say you buy a set of 3500Zs, you put them in your homebrew amplifier, you put 7,000 volts to the plate, and you drive a kilowatt into each tube and burn them to the ground, they're going to know. It will come out in the testing. When you send the tubes back for the warranty, they're going to be like, no, you abused the tube. And it shows. The grids will be burned out in it, and they have all that data saved from when they originally tested the tube. So know that going in. If you put the tube into a piece of equipment and use it per spec and you're not overly abusive to it, chances are pretty good they're going to stand behind that. Got to understand, they've already tested all the tubes before they left the facility, so unless it's something is damaged in shipping, pretty hard, you know what I'm saying? But just keep that in mind. Now, RF Parts claims they have a warranty process, but I don't know anybody that's ever successfully gotten a warranty claim through with those guys. But RF Parts doesn't test anything. They're just a parts seller. Now, for a lot of years, these were Penta tubes that Penta labeled for RF Parts. Here recently, that has changed. So now RF Parts is importing tubes directly from China. They're not testing them and they're selling them directly to you. I wanted a little bit higher of standard. I figured this out and learned about this, and that's one of the reasons that I didn't want to go back to RF Parts for new replacement tubes, for me to change out my bench tubes. I feel that we live in a world where we pay a lot of money, hard-earned money for a lot of you guys. I want to see things packaged better. I want to see things tested to a higher standard, and I want to see the quality of what we purchase to be held to a higher standard. So after talking with those guys, I felt very confident in wanting to make my next move over here. And this is going to be beneficial to you all down chain, like major. I said, okay, let's get a set of tubes coming. So we got a set of tubes coming. These are my brand new tubes. Let's go back and look at the RF Parts tube box. Let's take a quick look at this. All right. Now let's go back in history, back to when people actually gave a damn, and not the brown box kickers that we have today that don't give. Which would you rather have your tubes arrive in? Now, I have faith that they're in another box just like this, but the fact that they're double boxed, I mean, this box is massive. The video doesn't give this justice. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a side view, this for perspective. You guys get it? They care, gentlemen. They actually care. Dealing with them guys on the phone so far has been an absolute pleasure. We have a lot of very fun projects coming up here pretty quick involving these guys. We're gonna go get interviews. We're gonna go talk with their engineer. We're gonna go and look at their testing facility. We're gonna go put faces with people you're going to deal with, and we're going to bring this down to a normal human level, which is where it should be, in my opinion. Look at that. Oh my Lord, look at that. Wow, now I'm impressed. Wowzers. Hold on, look at this. Let me back up a little bit more. You guys are going to love this. Look at this. Holy smokes, look at the size of that box. Talk about packed well. Wow, staple construction on the box too. All right, let's get the first box out of the way. Look at this. I knew it. I knew it. Finally found somebody good that we can work with. Once again, in perspective. RF Parts' idea of good packaging. IMAX's idea of good packaging. Still exceeds the other two brands. This is held together with cloth reinforced tape, and so is this. This box is power stapled together. Look at that. Wow. Whole different packing standard. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Every tube has got the date code and its serial number. Every tube's got a number. Every box has got a number. And on the top of the lid, underneath the packing tape, is all the test data. Wow, that's neat. That is professional. I have been desperately looking for a company like this for quite some time. Now, Penta, after talking with them, they are going and are wanting to work forward into, and they do carry, but they're working for a little bit higher volume for us, making available to us the 8877, which is the 3CX 1500A7, the unobtainium tube, the 3CX 800, and they're currently looking at a 4CX 800. I am looking forward to testing and evaluating these tubes for all of you guys. I really am. Most of the amateur equipment in the United States right now runs on this tube, this tube, this tube, or these tubes. There are some other odd ducks that are out there. These guys. They're not going to be the hot sellers. But I'm here to tell you, this tube, this tube, this tube, oh, and then the little 250Bs, by the way, and these tubes represent the ham community. Not by a little, but by a country mile. This tube here is so expensive right now, it's painful to even visually process how much money is involved with that little tiny tube. Your Ten-Tech Titans, all of those style of amps use the 3CX 800A7. Or they'll use the 4CX 800, or very rarely, there's a 5CX 800 that's available. But a majority of the tubes in this world, or majority of the amps in this world, run off of those tubes right there. And they are willing to supply them to us tested, which nobody else in the business, no one else in the business, can bring us. You go to Richardson's, you're going to get a greenstone tube for one of these, a 1500, untested. You don't know what it is, and then you got to go put it in the amp, and hopefully it doesn't have a high voltage short on it, which will destroy your entire amplifier. So then you have two problems. Your high voltage deck and your amplifier is now completely scattered, right? And you have to go through the process of doing a warranty return. With Penta, that's no longer an issue. With their testing and their certification program that they put into place for all of us to enjoy, I strongly feel that we need to capitalize on this as quickly as we can. Oh, I'm excited to open these boxes. I mean, like, I am super excited to see what the packing is like on the inside. Let's do just that. I cannot stress this enough about the warranty. They're gonna know. I mean, they are gonna know. They're gonna take the tube out of the box that you return it in, and they're gonna test it, and they're gonna understand exactly what happened with it. These guys are no dummies. They're no slouches, and they've been in business for a long, 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 long time. Look at that. So as long as you're not abusive to things, life will go on. Here's our test certification sheet. Tested. Okay. Anode voltage, 2,500 volts. All right. Filament current, 15.9. Filament voltage, 5 volts. Nice. Serial number. Matches the serial number on the box. Wow, look at that foam. Look at that. Let's see what we got. Wow, that's pretty. I mean, that's... Wow, the pins are in great shape. There's the serial number on the tube. 2050074. Penta Laboratories, Moore Park, California, USA. Man, let's get in close. Let's take a better look at this tube. I am looking forward to testing the 3CX 3000 A7 for these guys, the 3CX 10,000, and the 3CX 15 and 20,000 for these guys. Now, as we all know, I've got that capability here, and I am very interested to see the quality of the workmanship that goes into those tubes, because I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty impressed with the quality of the workmanship that's gone into this one. Top to bottom, this thing is pro. The pins on this thing are amazing. There is no anode cap set screw. The anode cap is on there, which means it was installed and then it was plated. Or they're using some fancy dancy version of pressure fitting. But the pins are what got my attention. Let's take a quick look at the side of the pins here. Focused in on this space over here, guys. The pins, they look like to me that they have been soldered with high temp solder, and then they have been reground to make sure that they're at the proper OD to meet spec, which is just one more step in the machining process, which I don't see with our Russian friends. Or not our Russian, our Chinese friends. These pins are the Chinese pins from the RF parts tubes. These have been backfilled with solder, high temp solder, and then have been run through a bath of solder and washed. The pins have been washed. These look like these have been sand and ground, which means just higher quality to me, for the most part. Come on, little Toshiba. You didn't fail us for 30 years. Don't fail us now. I don't know, y'all. I'm impressed. I'm personally impressed with the quality of what has shown up over here. The fine folks over at Penta have been working really, really hard to overhaul their webpage. Their webpage was way dated, and a lot of the things that they offer for products on their webpage just simply weren't available to us. You go do a search, wasn't there. You do a Google crawl for it, wasn't there. But they had the products for sale. So they have been working night and day toilessly over there, pounding away on the keyboard, rewriting the HTML code, trying to get their webpage updated to date. They're excited to announce that their webpage is now going to launch here pretty quick, and you should probably come check it out. They're going to have hundreds of new products that you're going to be able to come look at. And I'm not gonna lie, I want to get behind these guys. I want to stand behind these guys. I think these people at Penta represent the future for us as radio operators maintaining our old equipment. I think tube technology is way dated. Nobody else in the world uses it except for us amateur and CB operators, for the most part. But they're willing to keep the porch lights on. They're wanting to work with you. They're wanting to work with me. They're wanting to work with everybody in the radio community to try and keep everything running, which I think is great. Have you looked at the cost of replacing your Henry, your Drake, your Collins, your whatever, your old Kenwood amplifier, and to go buy a new type accepted piece of equipment? Good Lord. When usually all you got to change out in your equipment is the tube. That's why I'm so excited about this, is I feel, me personally, I feel that I found a company that is willing to work with all of us, and I can get behind and I can say, no, these are good people. They're not just out to sell you Chinese junk. Some of the stuff is manufactured in China. There's no lie about that. But as we all know, there's multiple levels of quality, and that is what you are paying for. You're also paying for the independent tested. Let's test the tubes before we sell them. I don't know about you. I will pay just a little bit more for that little security at mine. So I tell people, don't buy tubes off eBay. Don't buy tubes off eBay. You don't know what you're getting. And it can cost you thousands when you go to put the thing in your piece of equipment and it blows it up because the tube is bad. Don't risk it. Come visit our friends at Penta. Well, gentlemen, these are my illustrious tube holders. And all I'm going to say is out with the old, in with the new. Now listen, the guys at Penta and the Maclet division of their business, this is a huge company, you guys. This is an international company that literally is worldwide. They used to be owned by Raytheon. There's a whole bunch of history there that I can't wait to go capture so that we all have it for whatever, knowledge. And like I was saying in a previous segment, if you have a tube question, how to treat your tubes, how to maintain your tubes, what we need to do with new tubes, those kind of things, anything that goes along with the tube, put the question in the comments down in the doobly-doo below. I will take that with me because I am going to go sit down with the head engineer over there. And what I mean by this is his job isn't just to maintain quality. This gentleman is an amazing person. One of the other divisions of Penta has got a support team to where if you've got, let's say, a commercial piece of equipment, a commercial welder, a bacon, cooker, some kind of commercial equipment, he goes out, helps diagnose what's wrong with the equipment, help keeps the equipment running. He's a full-time, let's go engineer. And I'm going to be able to sit down with him and get all of the legendary tube questions answered. Like, is it really necessary to take a brand new ceramic tube and degas it? I personally think that's a thing. I feel it's necessary. But I can't wait to hear what he has to say about these things. We're going to get the history. And believe me when I tell you, there's a whole lot more just on this one specific topic when it comes to these two pretty girls. We're going to do more videos. There's more stuff coming. There's more and more and more stuff coming on this. I'm so excited to be able to work with this giant company, to be able to bring these products more into the forefront. The market is changing. The tube environment is changing. The maintenance side of being able to maintain our equipment and the repair side of this business is changing dramatically in front of my eyes. From the standpoint of available parts, people to do the work, and who's qualified to actually get it done. I've watched all of this change just in the last 18 months, primarily on the availability of parts and good sources of parts. And that's our whole point behind wanting to go with these guys. So, out with the old, in with the new. Gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. There's more on this to come. Another thing I want to point out before I go, and this is a quality thing. I want to point this out from the standpoint of quality. You see this brown piece of glass fiber reinforced Bakelite that's here? It's an American tube, by the way. This is an old iMac that's shorted. Penta? That's porcelain. They use glass to support the pins. Think of the heat sink characteristics that adds to the bottom of the tube and how vastly superior that is to this BS. I cannot wait to find out what the driving force was behind that and many more other questions. Gentlemen, let's go on this journey. We're gonna have fun, but this is why I switched tubes, because it was time for a change. Out with the old, in with the new. Penta, welcome to the family of BBI, and I am glad to be part of the Penta team. I appreciate every single one of you guys that have helped make this happen. Specifically, but not limited to, all of my Patreon supporters. Please, YouTube does not pay like it used to. If you've learned anything from this channel, if you've enjoyed the content that I create, you want to see more interviews, you want to see more things like this happening for the radio community, come check out the Patreon link. Let's also give a shout out to Siglant, Excess Power, Berg, Coaxial Dynamics, and MechBand. Gentlemen, on BBI. I'll see you. Click, click.